So if you're selling final expense insurance over the phone or in person, this particular scam reveal video is for you. One of the most common objections that agents get when it comes to closing the sale is getting the banking information to set up a monthly recurring bank draft. There are just some people that flat out won't do it for any reason. And what I'm going to share with you today is a story of perhaps the most extreme example of what could happen when you go the old-fashioned way of trusting your agent to do the collections for you. So we're going to let this play. I'm going to give you a little background as to why this or how this was even happening. Some of this may be unusual to you. So I'm going to give you a little context, and then at the end of this, kind of wrap this up and conclude how you can use this tragic occurrence as a reason why to get your clients to fully commit to giving you their banking information, to at least the carrier, in order to set up a monthly bank draft. So let's take it away.
The pain is still so raw for the family of James Bird.
It was bad enough we lost our dad, but to go through this was it's horrible.
Now one step closer to justice after learning 63-year-old Neville Guy Reed is behind bars.
The unnecessary trauma that you added to our lives.
Reed arrested and accused of posing as a life insurance agent, pocketing premiums for 9 years after losing his license back in 2014.
So I looked this guy up, and Neville Reed actually lost his license. Here it is right here, if you can kind of see. I know it's kind of like halfway down, so I'm going to see if I can scroll in a little bit. I can't. But he actually got his license suspended. It didn't give a reason why, and this was back in September of 2014. And what you'll be shocked to find is sometimes the state Department of Insurance in each state will be very lenient about suspensions due to fraud or due to bad acting. For example, I had an agent who went rogue, wrote up a bunch of really bad business and against the will of the people. And for example, I had a carrier call and say that this particular agent wrote a piece of business on a man's wife, wrote them for level first day full coverage, so generally healthy. Turns out the lady's in hospice in a facility. And it never happened, of course, that she was there at the time, and it was just a giant lie. And the worst that the state of Mississippi did to this agent was give him a 4-month suspension and a $3,000 fine, which to me was just unbelievable because he had legitimately defrauded the insurance company and did something highly illegal. So let's continue here, because you may be wondering, well, how did this agent actually pocket the money? Let's listen, and I'm going to point this out to you and kind of train you or educate you on how it all happened.
One of those alleged victims, Bird.
He was our best friend.
Our daddy was our best friend.
Bird died of a heart attack in October 2023. When his family tried to pay for his burial, their nightmare became a reality.
The funeral home called to say that the insurance information that was given to us is not active.
The family, shocked. They say they uncovered.
Now check this out here. This is very important. So what this agent was doing, Mr. Reed, who is alleged of doing these, you're innocent until proven guilty. Allegedly, he came by the house and collected the premium and turned it in. Of course, in modern day final expense sales, if you're a final expense carrier, you don't collect premiums or depend on an agent to do that. Now, what you're seeing on the screen here, I'll let it play a little bit to get a better view here.
71 pages of receipts between 2012 and 2023 proving their father had been.
So this is actually a receipt that you leave in person at the time of sale from Occidental. It is a conditional receipt. You can kind of see it. It's kind of off the screen where you guys can't see it, but let me see. I can show you there. You can kind of see it right there where it says conditional. But the premise of this is pretty straightforward. The idea is that this particular person conditionally gets life insurance coverage, assuming that they're approved as applied for. But what this agent was using this as a scam was saying that this was a receipt to collect the monthly premiums for, I think they said 9 friggin' years. And you can see it says even coverage will become effective prior to the policy unless blah, 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 usually health changes or something dramatic that wasn't anticipated at the time of sale. So the point is this agent just basically took in the paper application the conditional receipt and used that as his angle or his scam to collect the money. Now let's continue listening, and I'll tell you how this even began to happen this way, because if you sell final expense or you're thinking about it, the only way that you can collect premium is on a bank draft recurring automated basis. So how did this agent even start this off as a collection? I'll kind of describe it to you. Or how did the client accept this?
And paying Neville Guy Reed for what he thought was a policy with Occidental Life Insurance. They say this is video proof of their dad making the payments.
The last payment was 10 days before our father passed away.
So here's the old school way to sell and why this was even accepted by this particular gentleman. So in the olden days, you used to have what you had called debit route agents. And literally what they would do is sell final expense like you and I or you're going to sell, except they would do it face-to-face and physically collect cash or a money order. Now, you may be thinking it's 2025. Who would be out of their mind to actually trust a person with cash? There's no paper trail of that, right? Well, this was back in the day when there was a higher level of trust and people generally did what they were supposed to do without this fear of defrauding others. But as time has progressed and as a lot of this fraud has become a real issue, the debit business, which it's called, has really fallen off of a cliff. It's still around to some minor extent. I'm sure somebody's watching this that can tell me that it's still heavy in some parts of the country, but generally speaking, this is where this strategy or collection process began, in the 50s and 60s, et cetera, before there were bank drafts on a common basis. And so, of course, this gentleman being older, I think they said it was in the 70s, I believe, he probably had his mom or his grandmom get insurance on themselves or others and paid in this kind of old-fashioned way. So that's where this idea comes in, that he probably accepted this, I'm just speculating at this point, to allow this gentleman to pick up the premium, which is a horrible shame.
He came out on October 4th, 2023, collected a payment. My dad goes outside, hands him money. He hands my dad the receipt. We want to make sure you guys are aware of what has happened.
The family took to social media warning others and contacted law enforcement, prompting a year-long investigation that revealed several other victims.
Yeah.
So remember, this dude wasn't even licensed during all of this alleged theft of premium dollars.
An insurance agent without a license.
Reed was arrested Tuesday on 38 charges, including racketeering and exploiting an elderly person.
And to read the charges,
Yeah.
and just to know that it's more than just our family that he did this to.
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah. So what will happen to him? I'm not entirely sure. Hopefully he'll spend many years behind bars for basically, allegedly, running a theft operation for years and years and years. So why does this matter? Why should you care as an agent? Well, the number one reason why you should care is because this is why we set our clients up on bank draft. Because if you trust a human being these days, unfortunately, to handle your cash or any of your money, you're predisposing it to this level of a potential of theft. And what you need to communicate with your clients is some sort of truncated version of what you've learned today. So if you ever get somebody who pushes back and say, I don't do anything on bank drafts, I mail everything in, tell them I understand exactly how you feel. That's how my grandparents used to do things. They actually used to have the insurance man come by and collect the premium. But the reality is that A, that doesn't happen anymore, and B, there's way more chances of theft than just setting it up with the carrier directly. That's what you'd be doing with me. I just got done watching a story. This poor man in his 70s trusted an insurance agent coming by door to door, gave the cash for years. Lo and behold, he had no coverage. He died, and the family's left with the bill. This is why we're going to do it this way, Mrs. Jones, because it's the safest, it's the most secure, and it's what's going to give you peace of mind. So where do you bank at? So this is the kind of language you need to use. Share this story. A lot of people will do better when they understand and hear a story and get the specifics from it. So I hope this helps you deal with this, one of the more frustrating objections for sure. And if you guys want to learn more about selling final expense, remotely. You can learn, subscribe to this channel, like this video, of course. But I also recruit agents nationally to sell final expense on a remote basis using our free lead system. We do tons of training like this to help you become as successful as possible. You can go to davidduford.com to learn more. And thank you so much for watching.